Why drugstore makeup isn't always better. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. Today I have a new series for you. This is something that I decided to start doing after getting all of the results in from my survey, and a lot of you were curious after hearing my thoughts about my makeup collection, why I decide to buy some things but not others. And I saw so many people requesting I try more drugstore makeup, but I simply can't try more than I already do. And I thought I could do this video, show you receipts, and give you some insights into my makeup collection. So that's what the new series is called. These are my collection insights. And today we're talking about drugstore makeup and why trying a lot of drugstore makeup doesn't always make sense. So this is a new video concept, so bear with me as I figure out how I want to film this and how I want to do it. But today we're going to be talking about my collection insights, and I love drugstore makeup. Let me put that right out there. As you know, if you follow my channel, I try loads of different products and I don't really stick to one type of price point. I do more affordable things, drugstore things, like Sephora brands, as you would like to call it, as well as the occasional more luxury brand. And of course, I also try quite a bit of K-beauty. I try indie brands. There is a little bit of everything here, and I do that very deliberately. I don't want to pinpoint myself as being the creator to go to for drugstore makeup per se or K-beauty per se. I just want to try what I want to, what I think might fit me. And that's what this channel has always been about. That's what my online content journey has been about since the start. So I'm not about to make any changes there. I'm gonna be still trying drugstore makeup for sure, but there are 3 reasons why I don't try more drugstore makeup than I actually do. The first reason being affordability, because that was a thing that a lot of people said, I want you to try more affordable makeup. Makeup in the Netherlands isn't affordable. Let me put that out there. Even if it's affordable to you, it's not affordable to me. And I've brought receipts in this video. So that's the first topic we're gonna talk about. The second topic we're gonna talk about is availability. So it's nothing to do with price point, but just the collections we do get over here and what is available to me. So that's the second reason why I don't try more drugstore makeup. And the third one, more importantly, is makeup quality. I've come a very long way when it comes to trying makeup, and I've tried a lot in my online journey. A lot of it is documented. It's not necessarily here on YouTube, but I still have a blog. It's still active. I still post on there, and you can find every single review I have done in the past 15 or so years. And I've tried a lot of drugstore in my day, and there are certain categories where I feel like drugstore makeup makes a lot of sense. But in other categories, I feel you are just better off spending a little bit more money or to try and find things in different categories of makeup, depending on what you like. So those are the 3 topics I want to tackle in this video today. So first things first is affordability. And I'm going to show you some screenshots that I grabbed a couple of weeks back, because drugstore makeup, brands like Rimmel, L'Oreal, Maybelline, Max Factor we have over here, and not CoverGirl, they are not affordable. This is the price point of my all-time favorite drugstore mascara. This is the Maybelline The Falsies Lash Lift. This currently retails at full price for 19 euros and 99 cents here in the Netherlands. The day I screenshotted this, it was on offer on a buy one get one free deal. That's what it means when it says 1 + 1 gratis. This is a screenshot from Kruidvat. That's where I do most of my drugstore shopping, because I feel they have the best sort of array, and the store near me is just a little bit bigger than Ethos or other places that you have here in the Netherlands. And so it's easiest for me to get to. But this Maybelline mascara retails for $19.99 here at full price, and I only ever buy mascara here in the Netherlands from the drugstore, from brands like Maybelline and L'Oreal, if we can get it on the buy one get one free deal. We get these deals often, but I have been in the situation where I needed a new mascara and the offer wasn't on, and then I'm stuck paying twice as much as what you pay for the exact same product in Germany, because this is a screen grab that I took from the DM website. This is the German drugstore that if I tend to go to Germany, I find myself mainly in DM. There is also Rossmann, I believe, in Germany. There are different places, but as far as I know, it's the same over here, which is different from like the US. That's why I don't have any images from like US websites, because I know that in the US it greatly varies whether you shop online or in store or what place you go to. It's cheaper at Walmart than it is at CVS. It would give me a headache. But yeah, here in the Netherlands and most places in Europe, I haven't seen many different price points between different like drugstore chains that you can attend. So I've selected one, and DM is the one I know most from Germany, so that's why I went with them. But there, the exact same mascara is 10 euros and 95 cents. This is not a travel size. This is a full size product. So do you understand then that I almost have to buy my mascara at a buy one, get one free deal just to make it about as affordable as it is in Germany? But this in Germany is the standard price. This is the standard price in Germany. And I cannot get this mascara for the life of me in the country that I live. I need to physically go to a different country to buy it for this price point, because guess what? A lot of drugstore makeup isn't available online, especially brands like Maybelline and L'Oreal. Beauty Bay stocked them for a while. I know that they are available on Boozy Shop, but that is a Dutch website, so they tend to charge the Dutch prices. It's very difficult to get drugstore makeup from other places for the price point that they go for in those places. So this price point, unless I physically am in Germany, I cannot get this mascara for. And of course, getting to Germany is something I can do, but it does take money to get to Germany as well. So you need to factor that in too. So if I go to Germany, which in the past year I haven't been at all, I'm planning on going in February, I tend to stock up on some things, and not necessarily mascara because I usually have enough. But this is why I find that, especially if you're in Germany and you think Maybelline is affordable, know that just a couple of hours away, we pay something completely differently than you do. This is the price point you pay for the exact same mascara in the UK, which is another country that I tend to go to at least once a year. If you're in the UK, this is from Boots. This is a screen grab that I took from them. This is £11.99. So it's a little bit more expensive than it is in Germany. So in euros, this would be like 13, maybe 14 euros. But at these drugstore prices, the price difference is huge. It's a third cheaper than what I can buy it for here. So to think that Maybelline and L'Oreal and Rimmel and brands like that are affordable, they are not. And I've got more. This is the L'Oreal, the True Nude Serum Foundation that they did, the skin tint kind of thing. This retails for €24.99 here in the Netherlands. To give you a bit of an idea where this falls into like the spectrum of makeup prices here in the Netherlands, if I go into like a Sephora-like place, like a Douglas or an Ici Paris, I can find foundations that are just a little bit more expensive than this is. But this is drugstore, so it's affordable. It's not. This is the price point for the exact same product in Germany. It's half the price. It's £12.95. And then in the UK, it's again just a little bit more expensive at £15. In the UK, you do tend to spend pounds like you do euros, so it's only a little bit of a difference. But again, it is about a third cheaper in the UK than it is over here. So again, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And to be quite fair, I've tried this product. I used to have this in my collection, and it was too dark in the lightest shade available. Yay! Also great. Another example, the Maybelline Skin Tint. Great formula. I love this product to pieces. It's $19.99 at the Dutch drugstore at Kruidvat. These are all from the same store here in the Netherlands. In Germany, it's $14.95, so here the price difference isn't as big. And then in the UK, this is actually, well, about like the same price point as it is in Germany as well. But again, at these price points, it's a quarter cheaper to get it in Germany or the UK than to buy the exact same product here in the Netherlands. It's, again, this exact same product, same size, But the worst part is, here in the Netherlands, this brand, this product only goes down to shade 3. So that's what I tried. I tried shade 3, which I actually did buy in Germany because they had it before we got it. But that's the next reason why I don't buy more drugstore products, you could say. So 15 euros or 19 euros, and then shade 3 was the lightest shade I can get. It tells me that there's gonna be a shade 2 and a shade 1. Can I find shade 1 and 2 anywhere? No, especially not online. I've looked. I can only find shade 3 in locations that ship to my country. Shade 2 I was able to find at Superdrug finally when I was in the UK in November. It was still the wrong shade. It was still the wrong shade! So I'm like, it's expensive. It's much more expensive over here than it is compared to other countries around us. But it's still also not the right makeup for my skin tone, even though I love the formula of this. It looks beautiful on the skin, but it oxidizes and it looked orange because shade 3 is not my shade. But we'll get to that in a second. Thirdly, I have Rimmel for you, because that's also a brand that people want to know of. Now, this is a foundation I used to love, the London Match Perfection in 100 Ivory. It retails for $16.99 here in the Netherlands. I wasn't really able to find like the exact same product in Germany, because apparently in Germany you don't have Rimmel, but it seems to be called Manhattan. It seems to be like the branding is very similar. It just has a different name. A foundation that looks similar to this Perfect Match thing, €7.49. That's like 2/3 cheaper than a very similar product here in the Netherlands. And then in UK, Rimmel is a UK-based brand, so it makes a bit more sense, but there it's £10, so it's 11 or 12 euros. And then I remember that we used to have this like kind and free thing as well. Here's the issue. In the Netherlands, the Rimmel line has been taken out of Kruidvat. This is a bad sign because it used to be available at both Ethos and Kruidvat. And very often when this happens to brands, they start disappearing completely. So I think Rimmel is on its way out. The Kind and Free foundation by Rimmel, I've tried this as well. This is $15.99 here in the Netherlands. Here's a screen grab. A similar-ish product in Germany by Manhattan is $9.45. $9.45, that's again like half price almost. And then this is no longer available in the UK, but Rimmel in the UK still makes a kind of free kind of product, and there it is, £10. So first things first, you're wrong to think that drugstore makeup is affordable. There's only 2 brands that I can get my hands on here in the Netherlands that are Essence and Catrice. They are cheaper than this. But the rest of it, I either can't buy, we'll get to that in a second, or 2, it's just really expensive for me to buy it. Which is why, from time to time, I like to do these trips to the UK and to Germany, because things are cheaper there. The reason why things are so much cheaper in other countries is because there is EU regulations that if a product here is sold in a certain country, the labeling on the product needs to be in the language of that country, which is one of the reasons why things are more expensive in the Netherlands. But the second reason why things are more expensive when it comes to makeup in the Netherlands is because we are small, we are tiny. For people in the US, the Netherlands is roughly the size of Rhode Island. That's only one of your 50 plus states. And I think the Netherlands fits 5 times into France. So France is 5 times bigger than the Netherlands. We're a teensy tiny little country, like tucked away in a corner of Europe somewhere. So we are not top of mind when it comes to makeup brands to begin with. That comes next, but also therefore we pay more because to get the products here, brands just mark it up because they can do whatever, because they control the market. And so I don't even think the drugstores here have much of a say of what is going on with these products. It's the big corporations behind things like L'Oreal and Maybelline. They're owned by the same mother company, actually. Kelly Gucci did a video about this. I'll see if I can find one of hers, but there's essentially only like 4 or 5 companies in the world that control almost everything you can buy at the drugstore. Whether it's shampoo or makeup, it's only like a handful of like big corporations that control the whole thing. So that's why I feel like those prices are also not likely going down. So these are the prices that we pay for it. So to think that drugstore makeup is affordable is such a stretch. I pay as much for L'Oreal as I do for Kiko. And then I have found more things in the Kiko line that I like better than what I try from L'Oreal. So for me, the choice is very easy to make. And a similar reason why I like trying K-Beauty, for instance, is because many K-Beauty brands that I love, like Fui and Romand and those kind of brands, they hit that sort of €15 mark, and they are cheaper for me to buy, even if I account for shipping, than when I buy a L'Oreal drugstore foundation from my local drugstore around the corner. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So yes, makeup here in the Netherlands is incredibly expensive. The original Mono Renaissance, I remember when it first launched over here, in the US, it was like $42, which dollars are a little bit cheaper than euros very often. So that retailed at the time for around like €40. Guess what price they charged us here in the Netherlands for the exact same product? Exact same product. $56.95. That's what it retailed for when it first came to market here in the Netherlands. Exact same product. They didn't change a thing. There's very few brands that I've actually found that don't do this. Too Faced is one of the very few where they just changed the dollar sign into a euro sign and they call it a day. But many brands, even if we can get our hands on it, even at much more expensive price points, just up the price. We just have to pay more because we're in a teensy tiny little corner of the world and we're the least interesting market place for makeup. And that brings me to point number 2, and that is availability. So when it comes to availability, I say this a lot when I do my new makeup releases videos. There are so many products being released also at the drugstore, but can I buy them? No. Why? For the reason that I just shared with you. We cannot get them, or we cannot get certain shades because the Netherlands is a teensy tiny country. So brands, I think in collaboration with the stores, decide to only offer the Maybelline Skin Tint until shade 3. The Rimmel foundation I chatted about, it is available in lighter shades in the UK, not over here. I've had the same problem with L'Oreal, with so many brands, also more expensive ones, where sometimes I can't, especially with more expensive brands, I can usually find like different shades on the website than I can find in store. So they will not have testers for these shades. They just offer them online and then they just like hope for the best. I don't know how it goes. I don't understand how these brands operate. With Essence and Catrice, I know for a fact that one of the reasons why they don't offer all the shades in store but only online has to do with the fact that they don't have any more space. Space is an issue here as well in the Netherlands. Like I've been like all over the world and I've seen like makeup displays in other countries and it's like an entire floor or aisle of just makeup, endless makeup. We don't have that. Like I live in a big city in the Netherlands and we don't have a single drugstore here that has more than like a little corner in the back of the store dedicated to makeup. It's like, there's like 5 displays and that's all you're getting. So availability is also very, very difficult for me. We don't have a lot of brands. I don't have access, like ready-made access to like things like Wet n Wild or like what were some other brands that people mentioned. Like they are just not available here. And some of the things I can find online, but it's never the full range. If it's on Notino, they charge up a lot too. I find like Notino is pretty expensive compared to other places I find. Lico, same thing. They also add something to the price point. So even the places where I can find some like drugstore makeup, again, I need to pay a lot more. Milani eyeshadow primer. I love it. Is Milani for sale here in the Netherlands? No, only online. So I buy my favorite Milani eyeshadow primer through Boozy Shop. That Milani eyeshadow primer is like what, $7 or $8 in the US? Yeah. I paid 13 euros. So that's 14, maybe $15. Again, it's double the price point for exactly the same product. So something you feel might be super affordable just isn't affordable to me, and I have to pay for shipping fees, or I have to like go out of my way to find something, because unless I go to like Germany or the UK, I cannot get my hands on it. And this is another brand that was mentioned a lot. It's NYX. I've got loads of products here that we're gonna chat about in a second. But these blushes, the Buttermelt blushes, this had the internet in a chokehold last year. When were these launched, do you think? Yeah, about a year ago. We couldn't buy this product until like early 2025. I bought mine in Edinburgh at the end of 2024 because that was the first time I was able to see these products and I was able to actually buy them. We still don't have the highlighter. I finally was able to find the highlighters when I was in the UK in November. And then, oh, and that really pretty purple that I'm desperate to try from this line. Like if I get another one, it's gonna be the bright purple. Not for sale here. Not available. No, can't get my hands on it. I have to physically go to England to pick this up in the bright purple shade. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. So for me, I love trying drugstore makeup, but I have to be able to get my hands on it. And so many releases either don't come here, or if they come here, they come like a year later compared to like other places around the world. So for me, that's one of the reasons actually why I make so much content with Essence and Catrice products, because I can get my hands on them, because I can go out, walk into a store and know that we have the new stuff. I can find those new products online quite easily. It's the only two brands that that release things when they say they're gonna be released for me. And I know it's the reverse for a lot of you with brands like Maybelline and L'Oreal and Rimmel. I would love to try more by them, but I walk into a store and the L'Oreal display looks the same as it did 5 years ago. There is nothing there that I go like, oh yeah, I haven't tried that before. I'm like, okay. Case in point, the lipstick I'm wearing today, I decided to wear my new L'Oreal lipstick that I bought when I was in the UK. This is in shade 214, Violette Saturn, which I thought sounded really cool. They didn't have a tester though in store. This is another issue, especially for you Americans. I know this is an issue. Testers are lacking. Here in Europe, we do have testers, but they're always super messy, and they don't have enough testers for all the products in the line. Especially if this was like in a separate display. It wasn't like part of the main L'Oreal console when I was at Superdrug. So when I opened this up, I was like, oh, this looks like something my grandma would wear. And it's got like a frosty finish. It looks very 90s, and it smells like the 90s. The minute I opened this up, I remembered why I don't own more L'Oreal lipsticks, because this smells like an old lady. It just smells really, really strongly perfumed. I really don't like the scent. Is it a beautiful lipstick? I think it is. I did have to pair it with a little bit of my grayish lip liner. That's like my new favorite thing to do. If I think a shade is a little bit too light for me, I just add a bit of grayish to add a bit of shading around my mouth, and it works really well. This price for this lipstick in the UK, the shade has not been available in the Netherlands as far as I know. But in the UK, I paid $9.99 for it without sale. But the Color Riche lipstick here in the Netherlands, the exact same line of lipsticks in the Netherlands from the drugstore. I'll just turn my phone around. Do you see that price point? $15.99. I'm not just like, it's so expensive. That's almost as much as a MAC lipstick. And then we didn't even get this shade. I'm like, It's a whole thing. So when it comes to price point, it's far more expensive for me to buy. And secondly, we just don't get a lot of the products. We just don't. Either it's brands I struggle to find because they're very local, especially here in Europe. Each country has its own like little segment. And there are some stores that like have things from other countries. And I've definitely tried some things. I've tried like Lumine and Eveline Cosmetics, and it was a lot of fun trying those things. But very often, it's just crickets. I can't buy it unless you go to that country. It's very difficult to get it shipped, and I don't always want to spend the like shipping fees for those things either, because then I pay about as much as I were to pay for it over here. So that's why I'm like, it doesn't then make a lot of sense. It's still not cheaper. And it's still not affordable. So availability is a thing. The affordability is also a really big issue for me personally. But the third reason why I don't try more drugstore makeup than I already do has to do with makeup quality. And that's not to say that drugstore doesn't have good quality makeup. It just means that when you want to find the good things at the drugstore, you have to try a lot. And whereas with like more expensive things, when you go into a Sephora, you can ask an MUA to help you if you don't know what shade might be right for you. They will apply it to your face. Of course, that's part of the marketing and part of why you pay more for the product, I would say. But with the drugstore, it's so much more difficult to find certain shades in different shade ranges. Textures tend to be a lot heavier at the drugstore as well. So finding a really good, like very lightweight foundation for years was virtually impossible. It's gotten a little better over time, but I feel like if you really want to try new makeup, the high-end brands do it first, and then the drugstore starts to copy, and it's the copies that make it like worth it, you could say. So I have loads of products here that I just wanted to showcase to show you, like, these are things that I like. These are always, very often I like the drugstore version better than I do the high-end version. Or I haven't tested it out yet. And I'm just gonna talk you through why I feel that sometimes putting your money towards other things can be worth it as well. And that's just why I try higher end brands as well, to also be able to share these dupes with you, of course. But yeah, these are things that I've either personally bought because I was interested in it, or that I think are very similar to higher end things that are in my makeup collection. So one of the like drugstore journeys I went on in the past few years is to find a really good drugstore foundation that I liked. This one came out on top. It's already been discontinued, by the way. That's another issue I run into with a lot of drugstore. It's not around for a very long time, as with like more high-end brands. I feel like high-end brands invest more money in like really stable manufacturing where they can just like keep products in their makeup line for years, and surely they have to reformulate from time to time, but they still keep a product with the same name in their line, making it very easy to recognize and what you might want. This Born to Glow foundation from NYX, holy grail status, I love it. Do I still use it a lot? No, because I'm afraid to run out of it. This was in the shade Porcelain, and this is what set me off on trying loads of different drugstore foundations. That's when I tried the Lumine one and the Eveline stuff. Like, that's when I started trying so many different brands and other drugstore foundations. Until this day, like, this is one of the very few things that I really enjoy. And when it comes to foundation, if there is a category where you are better off paying more, it's base products. It's things like foundation that I think really make the difference between drugstore and higher end things. Not because they like dupe a lot or anything like that, but because I feel like high-end brands do better formulas that are better for your skin, that have better shade ranges. So it's just plus, plus, plus all across the board for me. And with products like this, like I have a couple that I really enjoy foundation-wise from the drugstore, but there's so much that I have disliked because it all turns too yellow, or it's too dark, or the formula is too heavy, or it gets really cakey, or it doesn't last as well on my skin. I want, especially skin is very, very like important in how your overall makeup comes across, especially throughout the day. And I'd rather spend a little bit more on my foundation and have something I truly, truly love than buy tons of cheap things that aren't quite right. And of course you can add a bit of white or a bit of blue to make it look better. But to me, that doesn't make a lot of sense because then I need two products. If I just buy the one, it's a similar price point as buying the two things for me anyways. And then also a lot of the things that people recommend you mix into it, I cannot buy. So again, it's just not that readily available. Concealer wise, I have two that I really enjoy. I'm currently wearing my Maybelline one. This is in my Shop My Stash, the Superstay Activewear in shade 5. I was completely surprised with this because no one had really been talking about this much. I'm not sure if you can still get this though. I believe it's already discontinued as well. I find a product I love and they get rid of it straight away. It's a really good shade for me actually. It's very thin, it's very liquidy. I love a couple of like Catrice concealers. Overall, I tend to really enjoy the drugstore versions of a lot of my concealers. I really do. This one by L'Oreal, this is the True Match, at least it's from the True Match line. Oh, here's the name in English. This is in shade 1R. This is also beautiful. And this is very similar to the YSL All Hours concealer. So again, YSL is owned by L'Oreal. That's their mother company. You can find a lot of overlap between the L'Oreal line and the YSL line, but the products are always launched first in the YSL line before they make it into the L'Oreal line. What was it called? Do they still do the Lumi concealer in the, like, do they still do that line of concealers in the L'Oreal line? That's like a dupe for the Touche Éclat. So if they still do it, you can find like that. But again, fewer shades in the drugstore version than in the Touche Éclat version. It's a whole thing. This was really interesting to me. I found this in London and I was like, oh, that's a new product from L'Oreal I haven't seen before. It is now also available here in the Netherlands. I have seen it in store, but again, we pay a lot more than what you pay for it in the UK. This is in shade 905, which is Fair Glow. And I really wanted to give this a test because this very much, the way this like blends out, it just reminds me of the MAC Strobe Cream. And like a glowy primer of this like type is something that we have seen so many things do, so many brands do in the past. It's very thin, it's very liquidy. I don't know whether I'm gonna love this or hate it. I haven't tried it on my face yet, but I love a glowy primer, so we all know that. Then a product category where I feel like you can just buy it from the drugstore. You don't need to splurge. But again, in this, I sometimes feel like, Revlon makes some amazing lipsticks. We all know that Laid Back Lilac is one of my favorites. But again, Revlon, not for sale in this country at all. I can only buy it from Zalando, which is a German, actually, like big e-commerce platform here. They're an online store. They do a lot of Revlon. But I have also found that they like have really like old collections, and I've bought things from there that really feel that it's just old makeup that they just have sitting on a shelf until someone buys it. So with Zalando, I'm not always like I'm not a huge fan of buying makeup through there. If I have to, like with Revlon, I sometimes do. I can find them in the UK as well. And then of course, we all know how much I love my Catrice Scandalous Matte Lipstick in Casually Overdressed. I love this, but it's a dupe. It's a dupe for Lisa Eldridge's New Wave. That's another thing you need to know. This is a little bit more cooler toned, so actually on me it's prettier than the New Wave one from Lisa Eldridge. I do really like it, but say it with me, it's already been discontinued. And of course, SSI Catrice are notorious for doing this type of thing. Another product from Essence that I love, but that they've discontinued, this is another dupe. This is the Skin Loving Sensitive Mineral Powder. This is exactly like the Charlotte Tilbury airbrush, whatever that powder is called. I haven't bought the Charlotte Tilbury because I have this. I like my Kiko powder a little bit better nowadays because it has a little bit of a, I wouldn't call it shimmer or pearl, but it has more light reflecting qualities. This is a little bit matte for me now, but I still have 3 of these in backup, and these do not last very well. As in, once you start using them, you go through them really quickly. Again, something that has already been discontinued, but it was a good product. They did bring this back, my Soap & Glory Solar Powder. This is one of my all-time favorite bronzers. Had it in the past, hit pan on it. And this they brought back. I found it again last year. And this is beautiful. But again, Soap & Glory, not for sale here in the Netherlands. We can buy some makeup through the official Boots International website. There are some products on there, but a lot of it isn't. My favorite brow pencil by Soap & Glory, I can buy it in the brown shade, but not in the blonde shade online. Make it make sense, please. So that's why, again, even if the product is available, very often the shade that I need isn't. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Then just straight up dupes. These are all straight up dupes. Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I always forget what this thing is called. Catrice Soft Glam Filter Fluid. e.l.f. does a version of it as well. This came first. This is exactly the same. I like the Catrice one a little bit better. But again, it's every brand does a product like this by now, right? So, of course, this is cheaper than the Charlotte Tilbury, even if it's like from e.l.f. or Catrice. But yeah, especially Essence and Catrice, in the past few years, I have found that they're doing more and more like blatant dupes of products. Case in point, a more recent release. Here's the Rare Beauty blush. This is in Hope. And here is the Soft Glam Baked Blush from Catrice in Midnight Berry. This is the Catrice. That's the Rare Beauty. You can see where they were going with that, right? And Catrice has a lot of products that look and feel like Rare Beauty products. But Rare Beauty, this one is made, where is this made? This is made in Italy. And this one is made in China. So it's never going to be the same formula because of that. And especially like with Rare Beauty, like a lot of their lip products and stuff and their blushes come from Korea. So Rare Beauty is very similar to K-Beauty, but now Catrice has also started duping K-Beauty. We have Fui, this is one of their pudding pots. And this is the Catrice version that has launched just now. It came out in January. So again, we're getting loads of dupes at the drugstore from these high-end brands. So yes, it's cheaper than the high-end brand, but the high-end brand does it first, and then the drugstore just makes a cheaper version of it. And cheaper, of course, doesn't always have to mean that it's worse. Like I said, I like a lot of these products better than the original version. They are really good dupes, but it doesn't always make a lot of sense. And if you're paying as much as I do for a lot of those products, you know I'm not going to pay that. You know I'm not. Another dupe I like is the Jelly Grip from Essence. This is, of course, a dupe for the Milk Hydro Grip. I just have this as a mini. This can turn a very weird dark green shade very quickly. So that's why I no longer have the big size. This one hasn't done that for me. This is like the 3rd time I've repurchased it. It's my favorite primer from Essence for sure. And I hope they keep it in for a long time. And then, of course, we all know my love for the MUA blushed liquid blushes. They are a dupe for the Glossier Cloud Paints. The shades are even pretty similar. This is in Black Cherry, and then this one is in Rouge Noir. I used Rouge Noir a lot in December. Again, a great product, but again, very similar. Of course, the MUA is going to be cheaper, but again, to find all of these dupes, you do need to try a lot of products. So again, I don't want to bankrupt myself making these videos, right? And then this, I'm curious to see how similar it is, but you may be familiar with this product, the Herborian CC Red Correct. Catrice now does this. This is in their new line as well. I will be showcasing the Catrice products from the new range in like the next couple of weeks or so. I just was able to manage to get my hands on the other products, so I'm going to be taking pictures after I sit down to film videos today, and then hopefully I can film a Catrice video in the next week or so. That's the aim. But yeah, this is another like green anti-redness sort of thing. So they're duping this as well. And that brings me to the topic of K-beauty. You've heard me say about availability, shade range is not me being great, and just the sheer cost of a lot of these products for me from a lot of these like standard drugstore brands that everybody can get. Because I also realize that Essence and Catrice, what I can get my hands on isn't what a lot of you guys can get your hands on because products come later to your countries. Then it's like on the flip side, right? Just realize that for me, Essence and Catrice release things the minute I can get my hands on them. That's why I try so many things. That's why I try Kiko, because for me, Kiko fits within that drugstore price point, like financially, right? So they're like my favorite Skin Lover foundation that I've tried last year from Kiko is also 20 euros. So if I'm paying that much, I'd rather go to Kiko route than the Maybelline or L'Oreal route because like historically, I've just had better luck trying Essence, Catrice, and Kiko than Rimmel, Maybelline, and L'Oreal and brands like that. I just have. But that brings me to the topic of K-beauty and why I like trying them. Because K-beauty does something for me that I think a lot of drugstore brands do for a lot of other people. I already mentioned their price points, so brands like Romand or Fui, they have loads of things around like the 15 to 20 euros is where I feel is like the sweet spot for a lot of these Asian beauty brands. So whether you're like looking for a BB cream or a cushion, somewhere in like that 15 to 25 euro mark, you're going to find a load of products that you might enjoy, especially if you have cool tones. And this is one of the reasons why I cannot really wrap my head around everybody wanting to try more drugstore makeup. Because a lot of it doesn't work for me because it's far too yellow, far too orange, far too whatever. The blush ranges, and they do an interesting blush range, and then there's very few cool tones in them. The NYX Buttermelt blush I have is the only one besides the bright purple that truly stood out to me as something different. And I stood in front of that display in Superdrug in Edinburgh and I swatched a load of them and everything turned peach on me. So why go through the effort trying to find what's good within all of these Western makeup brands when there's an entire realm of makeup that does really good cool tones and that is retailing for a similar price point? Enter K-beauty for me. I try a K-beauty BB cream. 9 out of 10 times it works better for me than a L'Oreal foundation does. I buy something like I've been looking for a really, really good cool tone, mauvey blush tone. I tried this one from Art Class, the Too Cool for School by Rodin line, whatever they're called. This is in the shade D Mauve. This is the lightest, most gray tone mauve I have ever come across. You're not gonna find it in the European or US drugstore. You're gonna find it in Asian beauty brands. K-beauty, J-beauty, C-beauty, they bring the goods. So especially if you like cool tones or if you wanna play with cool tones or if you're incredibly fair-skinned and you have cool tones and you're always struggling to find the good stuff, try Asian beauty brands. Please do. Yes, you're gonna have to go online, but like I said, I don't mind because even to get my hands on a lot of the other stuff that people want me to try, I would have to go online. So in my brain, it makes sense. As I have already mentioned, I am affiliated with YESSTYLE, so that's the website I tend to use the most. And to give you a little bit of background, I became an affiliate with them because I had been buying on there so often. This wasn't something that like they send me an email or I send them an email. It was just like organically, like, hey, you did so many orders in the past 2 years. Would you like to join our affiliate link program? I was like, yeah, sure. And by now, you guys are also using my link so often that they've upped me a tier. I'm like, okay, great, that's fine. So it seems to work. It's like this organic process. But because I'm affiliated with YESSTYLE, I make a bit of money with my commission. I do in the past few weeks, they send me a coupon to place an order on their website as well. But it's where I go to find a lot of things. And yes, the swatches on YESSTYLE are a bit misleading sometimes, but I do find it's more informative than a lot of other brands. Like very often on YESSTYLE, there's this little tab to the left. You can click it and it opens this whole like PDF that you can scroll through with all of the marketing images and like the swatches and stuff. And within K-beauty, and also J-beauty brands do this, Chinese beauty brands do this as well, one of the marketing images will be an overview of all the shades, and it will say something about how cool tone it is. Like they will have a little axis of like deep versus like light and like cool to warm, and they will plot the shade somewhere. And if I'm like, okay, I like a more cool tone thing, that's what I look at. And then I go like, okay, and then I look at the swatches again. Would I like that then? And that's how I make my choices. So especially if, like me, you are really fair, you love your cool tones, or you have an incredible cool undertone yourself, try these Asian beauty brands. Give it a whirl. I know a lot of people don't like me mentioning K-beauty because they're like, it's boring, it's not what I want. I do enjoy K-beauty skincare, but for me, a couple of years ago, I was just done. I was done paying too much, getting crappy quality, and bad shades for my skin tone. And then I switched to K-beauty and I found formulas I loved, not in their powders. It's all very much about oil control and like oily skin, and I don't have oily skin. So within K-beauty, I still have to be careful what I pick. But a lot of the BB creams and stuff like that work for me. A lot of the concealers I've tried work for me. There are so many things with K-beauty that I just love. And this happens to be Kaleidos. This range of blushes, this is in the shade Pale Rose. Like if you're pasty pale, like if you identify as glow in the dark, I rest my case. It's much better. And I'm not saying that, I think these K-beauty, like the Kaleidos blushes retail for like 18 euros or something like that. Like I said, for me, that's a similar price point to what I'm probably going to pay once those Cloudtopia blushes come my way here by Maybelline. So it's not affordable. 2, it's not available. And 3, I have just found that yes, they do loads of dupes. There are good things out there. Drugstore makeup can be good, but it takes a lot of trial and error. And so it takes me a while to get to those things as well. And I have just found that for me, it makes more sense to then spend my money elsewhere. It's just been the organic process, and that's how I've discovered K-beauty, because I was like, that's actually interesting. And then I just started trying loads, and now I like know what my favorites are. And I'm like, yeah. And now this entire like C-beauty thing that's happening with loads of really impactful shadows and stuff, I'm really like seeing that this is where makeup is going. Like even like brands like Essence and Catrice are now duping K-beauty brands, and they are calling it new. This is a new. This has been out for 2 years. This is a new. So I know these things because I have tried these brands as well. So from a makeup reviewer point of view, this is why I try things across different brands. I'm not just here to tell you what's good at the drugstore. If I tell you that this primer from Essence is better than the Milk, you know I have tried an array of primers in those price points, so you can be certain of my recommendation when I say that this is the good stuff. But here's the issue. Yes, there is good stuff at the drugstore, not gonna lie. But it takes time and effort to find those, because not everything at the drugstore is as good. It's why I do the Essence and Catrice videos every couple of months. Because I like going through it and to like show you like this is actually good. But with other brands, it just takes more time because I cannot get it and it's far more expensive. So yeah, sure, there are good things out there, but because I try an array of things, I can deliver that information to you. So for me, it doesn't make a lot of sense to only focus on Rimmel, Maybelline, and L'Oreal because that's what you can afford. No, it's like, it's affordable to some of you, but not everyone, especially not me. And so I like just decide, where do I want to spend my money? And if I see a product in the drugstore that makes me go like, oh yeah, I might like that, I haven't heard anybody talking about it and that looks like an interesting formula, I'll buy it. But a lot of the drugstore makeup I buy, I don't buy in this country. And yes, I travel abroad a couple of times a year. I either take like a day trip to Germany or I go to London for a few days. But that doesn't happen every week or month or whatever. So I cannot be on top of what's new for that reason. I'd love to try more, but as long as I'm like here, there's only so much I can do. So know that I try my best to try as many different things at different price points and to have the information to find the dupes and to find all the things that do work, so that when I come on here, you can be certain that if I say this drugstore product is better than high-end, then you know I've explored all those realms to be able to give you that and be truthful about it. But that doesn't mean that the drugstore is necessarily better or cheaper or whatever. There's loads of reasons why I don't try more drugstore makeup here on the channel. I'm not here to try and like be like it just doesn't make any sense. There's other accounts and creators who do that. If you want my recommendation, I think Andrea Matalano, I never know how to pronounce her last name, but she's a great creator who's from the US, who has access to Ulta and all like the first like drugstore releases. Ellie Glines is really good for like loads of like drugstore content as well. Emily Noel, if you still follow her. But they are all US creators. And in the US, brands like Maybelline and L'Oreal release, and NYX, they release things first there, and then it like trickles down, and then the Netherlands is at the end of the line if we get the product. So those are 3 people who I would recommend. If you want loads of drugstore recommendations, you can go there. I personally stopped following them as much as I used to. Not because I don't like their content, but because they talk about a lot of products that I cannot buy. And then I like would watch their videos and get really excited for products, even from brands that I could, in theory, get my hands on. And then it is released here, and then I'm always disappointed with the shade range we're getting or how much I have to pay for like a single lipstick. Like whether I like, especially now that I've bought one again, I'm like, oh, I'm just better off buying MAC, because MAC lipsticks are like 25 euros now, and this retails for 16. I mainly have bought MAC lipsticks in the past 2 years if they were on sale. And then I think they are like 21 or 22 euros. So it's only a couple of euros more, and I like their quality better than I do this. Because this just, yeah, this is I'm not sure what to do with this. I like the shade. Like, I really enjoy the shade of it. But then I opened it and I was just like, oh, that's like something my grandma would wear at the end of the 80s. Like, that's why I added the lip liner, because the look I've got going on today has got a little bit of blue in. I was like, if I'm wearing blue eyeshadow with like a pasty, like pale, like pinky lip, people are going to be in the comments like, hey, the 80s cold, they want their lipstick back. So yeah, this was a bit of a, so yeah, a bit of a boo-boo that I made there. Can I make this lipstick work? Yes. But we all know I've got plenty of lipsticks that do a similar thing that I like better. So yeah, that like then still 10 pounds, like 12 euros is still expensive for a lipstick if it's something that you can't really see yourself wearing, right? So, and that's usually the case with a lot of drugstore. And like I said, I used to buy mainly these brands. I also feel like 10 to 12 years ago, there was a lot more buzz about drugstore makeup, and it was a lot easier for me to find like newer releases and stuff, and it was just felt like there was a lot more going on. I think also because makeup wasn't moving as quickly at the time. Like at the time we didn't get as many new releases, and I do think that the drugstore is also trying to like keep up with what's going on. Like, I know that Maybelline has these like now like these glossy lipsticks kind of things, and it's said on Trendmood that Europe would get them first. I haven't seen them anywhere yet. And I'm like, specify Europe, because I've seen UK creators talking about them. But the UK, yes, they're in Europe, but like, that doesn't mean that anybody else can get it, you know? So it's a little bit frustrating sometimes. And I feel that frustration mainly with drugstore makeup. With more high-end things, like a brand like House Labs, I can go online. Natasha Denona, not for sale here, but I can go online. Fenty Beauty is now being launched in the Netherlands. I think it's coming out now, actually. It came out this weekend at Douglas. We finally got Fenty Beauty. Curious to see if that's been marked up or whether it's like a similar price point. But they've already been available in Germany for some time, so I don't think they're gonna up it too much. Douglas is also a German chain that has stores here in the Netherlands. So that's probably why we're getting the brand, to be quite fair. Yeah, so yeah, it's difficult. But yeah, high-end brands are simply easier to get online than drugstore brands for some reason. It's been one of my main frustrations of like creating content online. I would love to try more, but it just adds up over time. And then I've just found other things that I like better that are either cheaper or just as expensive. And then I'd rather put my money there than wading through the L'Oreal and the Maybellines of the world and just try and find what's good. It doesn't help. So I hope that referring you to some creators who do a lot of drugstore content till this day are able to like help you out a little bit more if you were looking for that. I will continue to do like what I do on here and provide you with a mix of brands and a mix of recommendations all the time. Like if I do a top 10 of like my favorite bronzers or whatever, I always try to make sure there's a little bit of everything there so that whatever price point you have, like what you can afford, that there is something there that you can take away from it. That's what I always try to do. Some people just want to spend more on their makeup. They are luxury aficionados and they only want like the luxury stuff. Other people are like, I'm happy if it's cheap and cheerful, and if I have to make things work, I don't mind it that much. So that's why I try to cater to like a wider array of price points on this channel, and why I don't only focus on drugstore. It's not that I don't want to. They definitely can do good things, but it takes a lot of time and effort, and that's why I don't do that many like truly drugstore type of like videos or trials or whatever. It's not here. It's not here. So that's why. So thanks so much for watching this video today. Thank you so very much for joining me. Let me know in a comment down below what drugstore makeup you love to try. I would love to know if you share your favorites, or maybe you found some really good dupes. I could look into them to see if I can get my hands on it so I can feature them on the channel, but also make sure you use the comments to help each other out, because if I cannot deliver something, that doesn't mean that anyone watching these videos cannot deliver on it, of course. So maybe you do have access to a lot of things, so you've tried some different things than I have. So you can list your favorites in the comments as well. If you want to stay tuned for more, I have a load of other ideas of new content I want to film in the next couple of weeks. So definitely stay tuned for that. I film on here 4 times a week. If you want more personal content, I do like lifestyle-y, bookish, fashion-y things over on channel number 2, which is Floating in Books. The link is in the description box down below, so you can find me there. You can also find me on TikTok and Instagram, and of course I still have that blog if you want to follow me there as well. So thanks so much for joining me. Take care, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.